Countdown to Halloween 2023, featuring eerie and uncanny tales of haunts, ghosts, and suspense. October is finally here. Join us all month for special Halloween presentations on Storylink Radio's YouTube channel as we count down to Halloween 2023. Keep a close eye on YouTube alerts or you'll miss one. Celebrate October with us right here and now. Tonight's presentation from Storylink Radio. Flesh and blood. Charlie let out a huff when he saw the dark rain clouds. Oh, not today. The guys and I were going to play soccer. He was standing outside with his father, who was just getting into his car going to work. His father slammed the car door and rolled down the window. Well, you just have to find something to do indoors. Huh. Hey, you know what? I've got it. There's a new exhibit from Egypt at the museum. Why don't you go check that out? Yeah, thanks a lot, Dad, Charlie said. His father shrugged. Hey, well, I tried. He rolled up the window and started the car. Charlie watched his father drive off, then went inside and flopped down in a well-worn easy chair. The newspaper was on the coffee table, and Charlie absentmindedly began to flip through it when an article about the Egyptian exhibit caught his eye. A moment later, he was on the phone with his friend Sean. That sounds really cool, Charlie said excitedly. It's a real mummy on loan to the Single Falls History Museum. And get this, the article says the mummy was some royal person or whatever and got into big trouble and was cursed. Yeah, right, Sean snickered. Yeah, well, there's nothing better to do. Within an hour, Charlie and Sean were waiting in the lobby of the museum. Sean had also called Gordon and Christy to join them, and the two were walking up already. Hey, guys, said Gordon, a lanky boy wearing jeans and a sweatshirt. Yay, Gordon, Sean responded. Hey, Christy, he called to a young girl pushing her way through the turnstile. Christy grinned. Yeah, so let's go see this creepy mummy dude, huh? Hey, maybe he's cute. The museum was made up of 5 small separate wings. The Egyptology wing had small-scale models of the pyramids and displays of ancient Egyptian relics. In the middle of the room was the mummy, and the kids had made a beeline for it. Wow, cool, Gordon exclaimed, leaning over the railing. The sarcophagus was tilted up, making it easier for the kids to see the dry, shriveled body inside. Ew, gross, said Christy, turning away. The mummy was the dark color of swamp mud. Bits of rotted cloth hung from it, and a few wiry tufts of hair seemed plastered to the grinning skull. Yep, Charlie said with a smile. There he is, in the flesh, so to speak. Christy giggled at Charlie's joke, then went over to read the sign on the wall beside the place. It says here that he was an Egyptian prince. It seems he was a nasty character, and a lot of people disappeared during his reign. Ugh, yuck. He was accused of draining blood from others. It says he thought the life force of his victims would keep him young so he could live forever. Ew. When he got caught, they killed him by draining away all of his blood. Yeah, freaky. Sean gazed in awe at the dry corpse. So much for living forever. He's dead as a doornail. Gordon widened his eyes. Maybe not. Perhaps, he killed in a deeply heavily accented voice. Perhaps he's merely sleeping. When the moon is full, he will awake and take his revenge. The others chuckled as Gordon drew one arm into his chest, held the other arm out, and limped stiff-legged toward Christy. Go away from me, you idiot. She laughed and pushed him away. Charlie stared at the mummy. Hey, you know what? Maybe Gordon's onto something. Christy shook her head. Uh-huh. They dug up this guy nearly a year ago. He hasn't moved a muscle, full moon or not. Maybe the conditions weren't right, Gordon said half seriously. Or maybe he really does get out of his coffin and stalk the city at night. No one could watch him every minute, so there's no way to know for sure. Yes, there is, Charlie said enthusiastically. We could stay overnight right here and watch him. Looks like the old guy could use some company anyhow. Gordon shook his head. Nah, my mom expects me home by supper time. Besides, the guards won't let us stay in here all night. You can call your mom and say you're spending the night at my house. We can all come up with something. And those old guards won't be in here any problem. We can hide in the bathroom until they lock up. The museum doesn't even have a night watchman, just a guard service that drives by every once in a while. I know because my Uncle Arlo works for that service. Christy didn't seem convinced. I don't know, she said hesitantly. What if we want to get out? Charlie grinned. There's a window by the delivery entrance. Arlo's complained that he's found it open a couple times. I'll just check to make sure it isn't latched. Yeah, but the alarm system will go off if we try to go through the window, Gordon pointed out. So what? We'll be long gone by then. I say we do it. Come on, Charlie coaxed. It'll be fun. Gordon and Christy looked at each other and nodded. Then they each went off to call home. The guard opened the bathroom door and stepped inside for a final check before closing for the night. Standing up on the toilet in the last stall, Charlie held his breath. Finally, the guard let the door swing shut and Charlie let out a big sigh. Sean and Gordon in stalls on either side of him did the same. They waited for a few more moments, and then Sean tiptoed to the door and peered out. He's gone, Sean whispered. Then all of a sudden he drew back. Somebody's coming. The boys pressed themselves against the wall as the door swung slowly open again. Having fun? Christy asked, peeking around at them. You guys look pale. Yeah, very funny. Look, it's getting dark. Maybe we should find some of the guards' flashlights. I don't feel like sitting around in here if we can't see anything. I got a pen light on my keychain, Gordon offered. We can use it to go through the storage closets. After a search through a couple of the closets, Gordon's idea paid off, and the four kids now shared 2 flashlights. Wow, it sure looks different in here now, Gordon murmured as they made their way to the Egyptology wing. It's spooky. A dim light glowed here and there from various wall displays. It was definitely spooky, especially with each one of their footsteps echoing on the ceramic tile floor. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea, eh? Sean muttered. Suddenly, Christy froze. What was that? Sean turned his flashlight in the direction of a rustling sound. The beam fell on a huge, shimmering face with bloody red eyes and sharply pointed teeth. Ah! Gordon yelled. Chill out, Charlie shot back. It's only a mask on the wall. Jeez. He passed his light around the edge of the image so that everyone could see the long, moss-green feathers that decorated it. One feather was moving slightly, creating a rustling sound. Yeah, there must be some air coming in from a vent. He tried to slow his own rapidly beating heart. Well, I've had enough, Gordon said. You can call me a chicken if you want, but I'm leaving. Yeah, I'm with Gordy, Daphne said. Christy agreed. You guys can stay, but I'm going home. Where's that window, Charlie? Sean looked at Charlie. Yeah, they're right. There's no point doing this if it isn't any fun. Come on, let's go. Charlie finally agreed and led them through the spooky Egyptology wing, down a series of halls and out the back to the delivery entrance. There it is, Charlie said, shining his light toward a small window about 6 feet up the wall. See, the latch isn't hooked. He pointed to a big crate. Help me push that underneath so we can reach it. Quickly, the 4 kids shoved the crate over. Ow! Sean complained. He held up a cut thumb for the others to see. God, I'm going to the bathroom to wash this off. Gordy, give me that flashlight. Don't you guys leave without me, okay? I'll be right back. Oh, fresh blood, Gordy said jokingly. If there are any night creatures around, your bloody thumb should get their attention. Maybe you'll even wake up old King Tut in there. Shut up, Christy demanded. She was almost in tears. Well, excuse me. I was just joking. Don't have a cow. We'll be out of here in a minute. Maybe we won't, Charlie said softly. There are bars across the window that are bolted from the outside. Geez. That must have been my Uncle Arlo's idea. Oh, great. So now what are we going to do? Christy moaned. Well, we could just stay here until morning, then tell them we got locked in by accident. Christy shook her head. I don't want to stay here all night. This place gives me the creeps. Charlie jumped off the crate, snagging the sleeve of his dark blue sweater. Then we'll have to call somebody to come and get us. We can use a payphone. Boy, are we going to be in trouble when... Wait. Charlie held up his hand. I heard something. Hey, where's Sean? Christy pointed a trembling finger toward the door that led back into the main part of the museum. I thought he said he was going to the bathroom, right? Well, he's been gone a long time. We have to go look for him. He picked up his flashlight and motioned for the others to follow. "Sean?" he called out. Silence. "Sean, this isn't funny." And they entered the room where the mummy was. Just then, Charlie's foot kicked something. He bent down to pick it up. "The other flashlight," Christy said. "The one Sean took with him." Suddenly, Gordon gasped and grabbed Charlie's wrist, turning it so the flashlight beam fell on something just below the sarcophagus. It was Sean, lying on the floor in a crumpled heap. "Oh, no!" Christy raced to the boy and turned him over and then covered her mouth to hold back a scream. Sean was pale. His lips looked pasty white. His skin was slightly shriveled. "I don't believe this," Gordon said with a gasp, barely able to speak. "The mummy! Look at the mummy!" He leaned in to get a better look, as if he couldn't believe his eyes. Charlie felt as if something had sucked the air completely from his chest when he saw that the mummy's flesh looked fresher and more lifelike. The fingers looked as if they could simply reach out and, "Look out!" But it was too late. The mummy had gripped Gordon around the neck and lifted him off his feet as if the 110-pound boy weighed nothing. "Help me! Help!" Gordon shrieked, trying to pry away from the mummy's fingers, now squeezing his throat. Lunging forward, Charlie grabbed Gordon's shoulders and tried to pull him away, while Christy picked up a carved stone figure from a nearby display and beat at the mummy's powerful arms. But nothing seemed to stop the wretched thing. Within seconds, Gordon went limp. Charlie and Christy backed away as they saw their friend's skin slowly dry and shrivel, while that of the mummy appeared even more vital. Then the life-sucking creature tossed Gordon's body aside and clumsily began to struggle from the sarcophagus. "We gotta get out of here!" Charlie yelled, grabbing Christy by the hand. "How? We can't get by it!" The grotesque being drew in a raspy, labored breath that sounded like the wind rushing down the corridors of an ancient tomb. It threw back its head and howled, raising its nearly rejuvenated arms into the air. Then it stopped as if to listen. Slowly it turned from one side to another. "Can it see us?" Christy whispered. In answer, the thing turned toward them and moved awkwardly in their direction. "Let's rush it, then split off to either side of it," Charlie whispered. With no other choice, the two terrified kids raced toward the mummy, then skirted around it. They dashed for the bank of telephones in the lobby, then stood there helplessly. Neither of them had any change. Charlie turned his pockets inside out and only came up with dollar bills. "What are we going to do?" Christy cried. "Listen." Charlie put his hand over her mouth. The creature's labored breathing echoed in the main chamber. "We've got to hide." Looking frantically around, the two finally decided on a small side room with a display of Civil War furniture. Together they slid under the huge canopied bed just as the sound of heavy footsteps stopped right outside the entrance to the room. Charlie squeezed Christy's hand. He could feel that she was shaking uncontrollably. He was in pretty bad shape, too. Droplets of sweat stung his eyes, but he was afraid to brush them away. Everything was very still. Too still. Suddenly, Christy screeched and began to slide from under the bed, feet first. "It's got my foot!" she said, clawing at the floor. Charlie grabbed onto her hands, but he could feel her slipping away from him. Then all at once, Christy was wrenched out of his grasp. Covering his ears to block out the sound of her tortured struggle, Charlie knew there was nothing he could do. Then he felt a powerful hand brush his own foot. "It's looking for me now!" his mind shrieked. He kicked at the mummy's fingers and rolled out from the other side of the bed. In the dim light from a wall display, he could see the mummy's body was almost completely renewed. All it needed was the life force of one more victim. But Charlie was determined to defy that monster. Dashing toward the main hall, he could see that the windows were barred there, too. Charlie knew the front door was his only chance. He had to go for it, or the mummy would find him sooner or later. Making up his mind, he picked up a chair and he tossed it into a tall glass display that housed early American farm tools. The glass shattered, showering the room with sharp splinters that bit through Charlie's sneakers. He inched toward the display and he grabbed a long metal bar once used as a hoe. Then racing to the front door, he began to pry at the lock, and to his relief, a high-pitched alarm began to scream into the night. "Please open!" Charlie cried. Without turning, he could sense that the thing was behind him, perhaps only inches away. He could smell the stench of something that had ceased living many centuries ago. Something that should not be walking the earth again, but was. He felt the lock snap and suddenly give way. The door flew open and a rush of cold air burst in. The first police car flew into the parking lot and screeched to a halt in a flurry of flying gravel. "Look!" one of the officers yelled. "There's someone running toward the back of the building." "I'll get him!" the second officer responded as she threw open her door and charged after the retreating figure. Moments later, she returned. "I lost him," she said, glancing at the 3 other police cars that had just arrived. "What's going on, Sergeant?" "Well, it's a lot more than just a break-in." He pointed to a body just inside the front door. "Hi, Ben." The female officer gasped and turned away. There, wearing a dark blue sweater, were the remains of a body. It was totally dry and withered. "There's 3 more inside," another officer said, stepping out through the door. "This is impossible. What could have happened here?" The female officer glanced up. "Well, there's at least one person out there who knows. We're going to have to try to find him." From among the shadows on a hilltop overlooking the museum, something drew a deep, cool breath of air into its fresh lungs. It felt the warm blood flowing once again through its body, and with its newly formed eyes, it gazed down at the lights of the small town that housed its unsuspecting prey. And it smiled. You've just heard tonight's story from Storylink Radio's Countdown to Halloween 2023. Remember to come back for our next tale. Many more stories of all genres available to listen to and read along with now on our website at www.storylinkradio.com. Visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/storylinkradio. And visit our podcast for easy mobile listening anywhere, anytime. Just search for Storylink Radio on your favorite podcast provider. Oh, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click that alert bell for Storylink Radio.